Even growing up here in Skagit County, the farmlands of Skagit County are a big part of what people think of Skagit County, but there's a very small group of us actually growing in the county, and so we need to tell our story.
When I first started with Genuine Skagit Valley, I reached out to the Hughes family, and they were early adopters of understanding how we share the story of Skagit agriculture. We have an infrastructure of operation. We have the infrastructure of technology, of which they've always been at the forefront. But we also have the infrastructure of marketing and that message. And what do we see 5 years, 10 years, 100 years from now? How is the Skagit Valley perceived? And they've been a family that has stepped in and worked very hard to help shape that.
We feel it's very important to be visible to the community because agriculture is an important part of everyone's lives, even though they may not know it. And with being more public about what the farmer does, and it helps gain respect of the community and also show the importance of how we got to preserve farmland and preserve our area in order to maintain this way of life. We got to keep farmland because once it's turned to pavement, it's never coming back.
They've been incredibly involved in the community, volunteering on the fire department, serving in county government, planning commission, ag association, the list goes on. And I can tell they don't really voice it very loud that they are farmland preservation or farmland activists, but they really are. You can see it by their actions and the way they do their farming operation, right on down to their employees.
My wife is Dave Hughes' daughter, his oldest daughter. We try to hire within the family. So I work down at the shop. I keep all this stuff running, and that's where some of the kids start in the shop working on stuff, and then they kind of move out to different things. When I first started here, I started cutting seed, just seed potatoes and I didn't know anything. I went from cutting seed to fixing the seed cutter to working on the potato diggers. I didn't know what it was at the time, and then went from there to working in the shop and then fixing the equipment out in the fields, and just kind of kept going up from there, rebuilding engines, splitting tractors, doing, final drives and transmissions and engines.
It's obvious just by looking at the generational growth and transition through that farm when it was handed down from their grandfather to their father to the 4 boys, and now their sons and daughters and son-in-laws. And it's very heartening to actually, when you're out in their fields or nearby, to see one of their family members actually on the tractor or in charge of that field operation or in the harvesting or in the sales at the shed even, and involved in the packing. So all throughout that operation, they have family, and it's really a good succession plan, and it's very sustainable.
There's lots of different roles for lots of people, and so we've been able to have lots of family be involved generationally over the years and continue to grow in our organization. And I've had days where I'm in the semi hauling grain to the buyer, and I show up and there's like, I didn't expect a partner in the organization delivering it. It's like the way we're structured, we have so much family involved. We're hands-on on all those different aspects.
I give a lot of credit to David just because I talk to him more about these things of moving the next generation into a position. They learned with their brothers how to divide responsibility, and now they've done a very good job of that with the next generation. And that division of responsibility helps move innovation forward.
We have immense amount of pressures, and so we need to be able to tell our story, why agriculture is important, why growing food is important. We're pretty blessed here with how many different crops are grown in the county. It's a very unique climate, and it impacts agriculture around the world.